From the ages of 12 to 23, I self-identified as a student athlete. During the daytime, I performed in the classroom. In the evening, I performed on the basketball court, making sweet left-hand jump shots and layups. After my tenure as a collegiate athlete at the University of Notre Dame, I returned to Chicago with little to no direction. The summer of 2000 was stressful and lonely. I had to try to figure out how to reinvent myself. At the end of the summer, I accepted a position as a physical education instructor at a charter school in Chicago, working with kids K through 8. I also coached and mentored high school young ladies as they started their journey towards education and sports. This was my opportunity to give back to my community. My goal was to share my path to growing up in Chicago, to attending a prestigious university, despite being raised by a parent who battled substance abuse, who I love dearly. The lesson that I wanted to get across to these kids were, doesn't matter where you come from, you don't have to fall victim to your environment. All you have to do is dream, set goals, and find a good support system, whether it's parents, friends, coaches, or teachers. After a couple of years, I decided that my mission as a teacher and coach was over. I was in search for something meaningful and bigger. So I decided to enlist in the U.S. Army. 1 year after I enlisted, I deployed to Iraq. 4 months later, May 25th, 2004, a rocket-propelled grenade exploded and ripped the lower part of my left arm. My left arm was gone forever. For a moment, I broke down, I said a prayer, and I hoped that I would survive to help people, to inspire other people. This is the beginning of my secondhand life. Imagine being left-handed 27 years, the first 27 years of your life, and now you're forced to live a one-handed life in a two-handed world. At some point, all of us will experience some type of triggering event that will force you to change, whether it's a medical crisis, personal loss, unemployment, death, or lack of decent opportunities. What matters most is how you respond. As I reflected on the loss of my left arm, polar opposites developed. I could be positive or negative. I could be hopeful or I could be hopeless. I could grow or be stagnant. I could be psychologically flexible or I could be rigid. I could choose to expand my mind or I could stay stuck. I determined that I wanted to be a thriver instead of a victim or survivor, because a thriver continues to live their dreams and continues to set goals that communicate hope beyond the trauma. I realized that I accepted my combat experience. I reaffirmed my commitment to goodness, living a meaningful life, and service. My tenure as a soldier I completed my tenure as a soldier, but my unfailing commitment to serve my country continued. While at Walter Reed, I immersed myself in occupational therapy, and I would go to bed at night dreaming of how I could reintegrate back into society. How could I contribute? I saw value in returning back to Chicago to become a school counselor and be a high school basketball coach. So the most logical thing to do was to go back to school, get a master's degree in counseling, and a couple of years later, I became a licensed clinical professional counselor. I never became a school counselor, but another opportunity to serve my country arose. I became a readjustment counselor, providing readjustment counseling services to those combat veterans returning home with the mental scars of war. Also help their family members and military members who report military sexual trauma. I was able to help them with their transition from the battlefield to civilian life. I also provide mental health counseling for those who are struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, mood disorders such as depression, bipolar, anxiety disorder, moral injury, a psychological wound. I figure as a peer, I could help them build their inner peace so they too could contribute to their community, the world, find love within, and continue to serve and connect with their spirituality. I work with hundreds of veterans, but several months ago, my proudest moment as a professional was when a Marine walked in the doors. He had lost his way in life. He was a binge drinker. He had lost his job of 13 years. His marriage was shaky. His kids didn't like him. And we just started talking. And I told him about my story. And you could see a glimmer of hope. And over time, we would talk. And I would connect him with services, unemployment services, to build his resume up. I brought his wife in a couple of times, and we did some marital counseling. He contributed to group therapy. And over time, he started helping other veterans. And he said, "Danielle, thank you." And he found the job of his dreams, and he moved out the area. What I've learned from life is a balancing act, and it's even more challenging when you have one hand. But this is the truest test of character. It is my continued desire to help people of all ages and all backgrounds to gain access to their purpose and passion in life, live a meaningful life, create a lasting legacy, and to live as a full human being. My secondhand life is worth living. My name is Danielle Green, U.S. Army veteran.